Javon Hargrave just agreed to a huge mega deal with the 49ers. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Ryan Hensley. We're going to break it down. There's fallout. There's another Niner. Someone else is on the trade block. They could make moves during the show. So stay tuned. This is going to be an action-packed. We're going to be on the edge of our seat the whole day. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great, man. How are you today?
I'm doing phenomenal. I like when there's news. News is good. We can do this job when there's no news and just talk about the Niners, but it's better when there's things to talk about, like today.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
Javon Hargrave. I didn't see the Niners doing this. I thought they had already, you're going to spend on Nick Bosa. You got a ton of money tied up in Eric Armstead. I mean, they traded DeForest Buckner because it seemed like they didn't want to spend a lot on multiple defensive linemen. Forget all that. It's like they acknowledged they shouldn't have traded DeForest Buckner. Now they got in Hargrave, who I don't know if he's as good as Buckner, but he's damn good. And this feels like the Niners are going all in. What do you think of this move?
Yeah, man. To me, it signals that the 49ers are going all in. The defensive tackle Hargrave is probably top 3, at least top 5 in the NFL. And to me, that was the second biggest need. Maybe not the second. Maybe it might be first, maybe equal. Right tackle, defensive tackle were, to me, the biggest needs for the 49ers. The fact that they went in and got the best one on the market, that to me signals that they're going all in this year. Man, I expect them to make another move or two. To me, this is like, hey, we're going all in. Defensive tackle is huge. That's what they were missing. Everyone trips on edge all the time, and I get it. It's a little bit more exciting because they're coming off the edge, sacking the quarterback. But Hargrave had 11 sacks. I think he had 57 pressures, which is like way more than Armstead had. So this is going to free up Armstead. It's going to free up Bosa. If Drake Jackson can make a leap or they sign another edge, the 49ers defensive line is probably going to be the best in the NFL this coming year, which is humongous, man. It's exciting for me as a fan. I know you're not a fan, but I am still a fan. Sometimes a bitter fan, but this is exciting for me.
Well, yeah, the Eagles had the best D-line in the NFL. The Niners needed to go through Philly. Philly was better than them last year, in my opinion. The Niners won't admit that. But now they're sort of acknowledging that they just weakened Philly big time. Philly had the best D-line. Now the Niners go from having a great defensive lineman to one hell of a 1-2 punch. Bosa and Hargrave is one hell of a 1-2 punch. Yeah. I mean, those are two cornerstone players. And now Armstead can slide in as the third guy on the D-line, which is where he should be. And if a fourth guy can step up, Drake Jackson, I mean, that's a hell of a defensive line. And the way I look at it is, Hargrave, the Eagles lost the Super Bowl. Hargrave didn't do anything in the Super Bowl. None of the Eagles defensive linemen did anything in the Super Bowl, but they made it to the Super Bowl. The Niners didn't. And having a dominant defensive line definitely increases the Niners' odds of getting to the Super Bowl. I'm becoming very jaded, and I feel like you're not allowed to play defense in that game anymore, especially in the fourth quarter. So I don't know that Javon Hargrave is going to bring the 6th Lombardi trophy to the Niners, but you can't win it if you're not in the game. And I think this drastically improves the Niners' odds of winning the NFC next year, which is the goal. I mean, it's the first goal.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on one of the biggest points is not only did the 49ers get stronger, they weakened the Eagles, which is key if 49ers want to get there. So I think the 49ers are by far going to have the best D-line, having a strong interior. And he's also good at stopping the run, which is if you look at the 49ers defense last year, they were one of the worst at third and short, surprisingly. Great at everything else, but one of the worst when it comes to third and short, and Hargrave's going to help with that as well. So this is a big, big move.
Yeah, not only does he replace Buckner, he replaces DJ Jones. Yeah. In that sense. He's really good.
And Kinlaw.
Well, because Kinlaw, unfortunately, knee didn't allow him to replace either one of those guys. Had the talent, just didn't have the health. We're going to talk about Kinlaw in a second, but new Javon on the D-line. It's funny, they got a new Mick right tackle. You have to have a name that starts with MC. You got to be Mick something to be a right tackle on the Niners, and apparently they want a Javon, a defensive tackle. So they got one. This guy is really freaking good. And, I mean, the only thing that I would only quibble again is that the Niners are so intent on building through their defense. They want the best defense in the league. They want to prove that this defense can bring it home. And I just don't know that defenses can anymore. I mean 10 years ago they could for sure, but I don't know. It just feels like there's going to be some key play in the Super Bowl where Javon Hargrave is called for roughing the passer because he breathed on the quarterback, or Nick Bosa is blatantly held and no one calls it. It's like, well, yeah, that's the product the NFL wants these days.
Yeah, I mean, defense will make you competitive. It'll get you there.
Yes.
But you need that quarterback to win it.
You do.
hoping Trey Lance is the guy this year, really, and hoping he makes a huge leap, or Purdy back and he's healthy. But yeah, I mean, got to start somewhere. They started with the defensive tackle. That's huge for me. I was prioritizing D tackle over edge for the last 2 months, and it looks like
to that point, though, I mean, the two best teams in the league, Philly and Kansas City, have great centers. And if you're really going to match up with them, you better have a great D tackle too. So, I mean, we're talking Jason Kelce, who's coming back. He just announced this morning he's playing again next year. The Eagles are still going to be monsters up the middle on offense, and Creed Humphrey's just as good and younger. So now the Niners can match up. We saw clips. I mean, it was bad what happened in the NFC Championship game. Forget what happened to the Niners offense. You saw the clips of the Niners defense. 99 just getting pile drived out of that hole. And it wasn't just him. It was a lot of guys. That Philly O-line destroyed the Niners D-line. And so now that's not going to happen if they face off again next year. That's really interesting. This is a equalizer, to say the least.
And it's a very early move. There's still a lot of time left. According to Marco Martinez, friend of the show, the 49ers are still looking at center and a nickel back corner. So those two moves could be huge.
I have a request for John.
Yeah.
Prioritize the center, man. Womack I liked what I saw from him last year. Lenore could play the position.
Yeah.
Come on. Offense matters. It really does. And center's an impact position. Look at the two teams in the Super Bowl.
If they get a center and a right tackle, 49ers, I'm going to be back.
This could be their year.
Yeah.
But they're going to need a quarterback to step up and stay healthy. But they got everything else.
Yeah.
I feel like we said that before. Corey Soto says 313 now, officially Jimmy Gone Day. Yeah, we've been hearing that for like 3 years. I'll believe it. I mean, they keep saying that he's about to sign. Really? Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that, though. Sirs11 says, I think the writing is on the wall for Armstead. Feels like when we signed Trent, no one Staley was retiring. Yeah, I don't think Hargrave and Armstead are going to be on the team together making big bucks for long. But then again, I mean, they're the same age. They're
30.
Both about 30. So if this does kind of feel like the Niners putting all their chips in this Super Bowl window. Like, let's win this year, next year.
That's what this move is. I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of expecting the typical 49ers free agency where they just kind of tiptoe around and get the guys that they can afford at a good price, guys they think they can upgrade from their previous year plans. But Hargrave is like, hey, we're going in right now.
Yeah.
I love to see.
I wish they had done it last year. It kind of annoyed me last year when their only move was like a mid-tier, not a mid-tier, but like, Travarius Ward. They didn't pay him a ton of money. They focused on special teams. Then they finally went and got McCaffrey, which was a big time move. This is a big time move. You're not going to have, I know the Niners feel like they can contend forever, but not with Trent Williams, not with George Kittle, not with Eric Armstead, not with this group. This group is getting older. They're all hitting their 30s, and it probably would behoove the Niners to, cash in. So here's to that.
Every year I mean, hats off to the Niners, John Lynch, because honestly, every year I think the Niners aren't going to be better next year. There's no way the Niners are going to be better next year. And so far, it's seeming like they might be. I mean, they re-signed Gipson. I don't know if we were going to talk about that, but they got Gipson last night on a 1-year deal. I thought that was a good move. That's kind of who I predicted. I wanted Ward because I like Ward.
Let's talk about him in a little bit. Let's dedicate a section to him because that's important, actually. Let's do that. Rita Oak can stop drawing Jimmy Garoppolo for now. Bless your soul. No, I'm telling you shit. No. It ain't over till it's over. Stop counting your chickens before they hatch. I've played this game with Jimmy Garoppolo before. $65 million for Jimmy and $85 million for McColl. Bye. It's March 13th, and Jimmy Garoppolo's not in the Niners. Did Jimmy Garoppolo sign something?
To the Raiders, yeah. The Raiders.
It's official. It's official.
Let me give you the spiel here.
God, that is so stupid.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo. It was reported. Let me see what it was reported by.
Okay.
Mike Garoppolo, the Raiders are closing on a deal with Jimmy Garoppolo. Sources say after 6 seasons Super Bowl, Jimmy G is on his way to Vegas. So they're closing on. I don't know if it's official yet, but they are closing in on a deal.
Okay, so there's no terms yet.
Says Adam Schefter.
Oh, no. He's getting a 3-year, $67.5 million deal with $34 million. Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we need to. After the show's done, you got to make that video that everyone's anticipating from you.
Sure. Yeah. Raiders agree to sign Jimmy Garoppolo. That is so ridiculous. Okay.
7.5 mil.
Let me set this up. So the Las Vegas Raiders just agreed to sign Jimmy Garoppolo to a 3-year, $67.5 million deal with $34 million guaranteed. That's more than $20 million a year. That's what? $22+ million a year for Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, people say, that's a bargain for a veteran quarterback. That's a bargain. $22 million for Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not just a waste of money for the Raiders. It's a waste of time. 3 years for Jimmy Garoppolo. Josh McDaniels gets this job, and what he does is he replaces Derek Carr with a worse version of Derek Carr and locks him in for 3 years. Dude, you have the 7th pick in the draft, and you're not going to take a quarterback? Like, can they fire him now? Can they just fire him now? Josh, what a waste of everyone's time. We all know what's going where that Raiders team is going, but congratulations to the city of Las Vegas.
What was Carr making? Wasn't he making about the same?
And I think he was making more. I think he was making more. He's making more like 30 plus.
But probably
so I guess they got a cheaper version of Derek Carr. I mean, wow. This reminds me of when Josh McDaniels got rid of Jay Cutler and replaced him with Kyle Orton. Like, nice, dude.
Yeah.
This dude has gotten 2 chances to be a head coach.
Yeah.
And he does stuff like this. Kyle Orton. He drafted Tim Tebow. He signed Jimmy Garoppolo. Man, I can't believe that the Raiders. I can't believe it. I predicted it months ago, but it's like they're that freaking predictable. It's like, you know why they did it? Because Josh McDaniel is a terrible coach. He's a scheme coach, and Jimmy knows his scheme. Like, he doesn't want to teach anyone else. His options are trade for Mac Jones or sign Jimmy Garoppolo. Wow, those are some great options. Imagine being a Raider fan today. Oh, I like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't troll all my Raider fan friends on Facebook. Yeah, I don't understand what the hell this guy is doing, man. Why would you want to go from Carr to Jimmy G just because he knows your system? I mean, this is going to be a disaster. Imagine how Devontae Adams is feeling right now. He'll probably put in a trade request.
He should just retire.
Yeah,
I got one of my really good friends. I'm from Oakland. One of my really good friends is a Raider fan, and he was texting me this morning. He says, hopefully, looks like it's going to be Jimothy for the Raiders. Yikes. And I said, terrible. He goes, hopefully he'll be really bad, and we can get McDonut out. Can we fire the owner? He says, to be fair, there's only one other team who has a quarterback who's won 2 Super Bowls. Jimmy has won 2 Super Bowls. Then he says, the question is, who is going to start after week 7 when Jimmy goes on IR? That's a good question.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, what's his name? What's the guy that they had last year that played against the Niners?
Stidham. He signed with the Broncos today. They don't even have him anymore.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They have Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's it.
This guy,
a 3-year bridge quarterback. $34 million guaranteed. For what?
This guy's a disaster. McDaniels is gone after this year, probably.
What is with the AFC West signing the Niners rejects and actually think they're good? Like, what?
My poor Raider fans, man. First they go to Vegas, then they sign Jimmy G. Damn, it's hard to be a Raider fan, man.
Raider fans over here like a month ago being like, oh, man, I think we're going to get C.J. Stroud. Or maybe not C.J. Stroud. Maybe we're going to get Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Or maybe not Anthony Richardson. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey, is Jimmy Garoppolo, are they going to draft a quarterback, though? Are they going to give him Anthony Richardson as his fate? Like, hey, mentor him. You're back in the same situation.
What is their pick? Do you know when their pick is? Let me see. I'm going to see.
7th.
7. Oh, yeah, they're drafting a quarterback. They're definitely drafting a quarterback. Yeah, I would not.
If they're smart, but they're not smart. You know how I know they're not smart? Because they just signed Jimmy Garoppolo for 3 years.
They're getting Levis. They're getting Will Levis.
I wouldn't be surprised if Levis goes higher than the media thinks. The media hates Will Levis, but he kind of seems like that quarterback that the NFL likes but isn't talking about. The NFL is different than the media. Just saying.
Yeah.
$65 million. Jimmy, God love you. You're someone else's problem now. Now Raider fans get to and what's funny, Raider fans have been pretending that Derek Carr has been elite for years. Now they get to play that game with Jimmy Garoppolo where Niner fans can finally stop pretending like he's any good. It's over. You don't have to do it anymore. That game is over.
Get ready for the dink and dunk, Raider fans. It's coming your way.
They've been watching it with Derek Carr the last 10 years. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, but
it's going to be the same thing, but worse.
Carr's got a better arm.
Yeah, he's got better legs, too. He just doesn't use them.
Yeah.
Derek Carr.
Jimmy is so slow. It's crazy.
Just every top free agent is in the AFC. Only Javon stayed. Yeah, it's like when we were kids in the NBA when all the good players were in the West. One quarterback from winning the chip, can they get one? They think they have him. Everyone's saying Jim saved us. LOL, Bosa saved the Niners. Yeah, I would have to say so. Chances this sign means Bosa getting traded? I don't think so. No, that would be silly. Isn't it official? $65 million, $35 guaranteed for Jimmy. It is official. Sorry. Todd Labor says, what do you guys think of the Commanders' move so far, especially Daron Payne, Andrew Wiley, and Nick Gates? Have a good day, guys. They are run by Martin Mayhew, who comes from the 49ers. So they're like another team that's sort of built in the Niners image. They don't have Niners coaches, but they do have that tough physical mentality. They're building a really tough team. They don't have a quarterback.
I know Todd's a Niner fan and Commanders fan, which I find interesting. But what's up, Todd? Yeah, I heard actually a couple people talking about the Commanders might be a sleeper this year. Who's their quarterback?
They don't have one, so I'm not calling them a sleeper team until they actually figure that out. I do like their running back, though. I like their running back.
They got a lot of good pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. Ayuk is definitely going to be moved this year or next. I would agree.
I say Debo next year.
I would rather sign. Yeah. Raiders going to the playoffs, book it. Anytime someone says book it, you can book on it not happening. Jimmy G's equals swap meet, wish Derek Carr, pretty much. How does this affect Mosley being resigned? Probably not going to happen.
They did reach out to his agent this morning. That was the news report.
Maybe the Niners have a bunch of money that I don't understand. Maybe they're just going to backload everything. Maybe they're just going to backload everything and be like, we got these 2 years. Who cares about 2025 and beyond? Like, we'll eventually have to rebuild like the Rams are doing. I mean, you gotta. But in the meantime, let's put our best foot forward the next 2 years. I would.
Kyle's got what till through 2025, so he's probably feeling that like, okay, damn it, I need to just let's go.
Yeah, because if he doesn't, he's not going to get us an extension. He might have to win a Super Bowl. It's possible if he just lets this entire window pass. The Niners could just let his contract expire. I think that's what the Eagles did with Andy Reid eventually. They never fired him because he's great, but they were like, dude, you go ahead, go explore your options.
Picture this: he's with Trent Williams, he's with George Kittle and Cabo, right? He's probably feeling that pressure not only for his contract, but also for these guys that are getting old, man. Like, how long is Trent Williams going to play? This year? Next year? That's it, probably, I would imagine. So there is this window that is going away. 49ers got to go all in. Maybe that's what this is all about. Kyle Shanahan feels it like, hey, my contract is going up. My players are getting older. Yeah, we got to do the damn thing. It's just curious I really wish I knew what they thought about quarterback. Are they thinking Brock Purdy? Are they thinking Trey Lance? What are they thinking?
Stephen Pryor says, let's be fair. Maybe the Raiders signed Jimmy G to be a Vegas-style entertainer for halftime. Give Jimmy a white tiger the only way this deal makes sense. That's hilarious. Yeah. I like that. Did you see that OBJ wanted $20 million plus a year? I did see that. I guess so much for the Niners signing him and trading Brandon Ayuk. He'd be more expensive than Brandon Ayuk. Yeah. All right, moving on. Back to the Javon Hargrave thing. So Javon Hargrave in, Javon Kinlaw potentially out. It's been reported that he is now officially on the trade block, which is obvious, right? They just replaced him, and he was a first-round pick. He wants a contract. He needs to play. I'm sure he's not happy. Obviously, he's on the trade block. My question is, can they trade him?
I'm trying to think of what it means from a contract standpoint, but I'm sure there's somebody out there would trade him, maybe for like a 4th or 5th, something like that. I would imagine maybe 6th. I don't know.
Maybe 6th.
Just give him an opportunity. Yeah. The thing about Javon is he's so physically talented. So who knows? Maybe someone will believe in his health and sign him. But in order to trade, you have to pass a physical. Is he going to be able to pass that physical? That's the thing.
That's a good point, Ryan. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, I don't know. He did put out a video on Instagram looking spry. Yeah. Looking good.
He's super talented, man. I really wish the best for him. Hope he makes it. I don't know if anyone's going to trade for him. He might just end up being a depth piece for the 49ers this year, which would be good.
Let me make a pitch to another team real quick. So I think you should trade for Javon Kinlaw. Here's 3 reasons. 1, he was a first-round pick. 2, his value couldn't be any lower. And 3, the Niners have a terrible history and reputation rehabilitating players. Maybe your training room is a little bit bigger, a little bit better. Maybe you're better at bringing guys back because the Niners really have a bad track record there. And maybe what Javon Kinlaw needs is a new team. Yeah. And you could get him for nothing. And he does have a lot of potential. So I actually think a team trading for Javon Kinlaw would be smart because I don't know. The Niners just cut him if no one trades for him. Why would you cut him?
Yeah. They would have to do it after what? They'd have to do it. What was that? It was like $5 million if they own $5 million. If they cut him after June 1st, they only have to pay him $2.5 million. So they still have to pay him either way, even if they cut him. But it would be $2.5 million.
That's the thing. He is like technically kind of expensive because he was a first round pick for a backup. Yeah. For a starter, he's great. He's cheaper than Buckner, but as a backup, yeah. But I don't know if he's technically. I don't know if his knee is in condition for him to start. I don't know. He might have to be a reclamation project for another team that has, confidence in their training staff. I don't know.
I just hope he can do it. He seems like he just really wants to be successful, and he needs it. He wants that second contract. Hopefully he can healthy. Hope the 49ers trade him and find somewhere. But I wouldn't be mad if he's a depth piece for the 49ers either. If he ends up, it's pretty expensive depth piece, but if he is a depth piece, that's good for the 49ers because the thing about Javon is, he didn't play great towards the end of the season, but he has such a high potential, such a high ceiling. If they can develop him, get his pad level lower, and have him as a depth piece, I wouldn't be mad about that either. I just don't want him as our depending on him D tackle.
Yeah. Also, he wasn't healthy at the end of the year. Like they just put him on the field because he was running out of time and they wanted to salvage something. I understand. And he wants to play. He's not like one of these guys if he's not 100%, he doesn't want to play, which I respect.
Yeah.
But if he could just be healthy for an extended period of time, he could develop and become an excellent player. But so far, his knee won't let that happen. It's a shame.
Yeah, and we talk about his pad level, and I think that also might have something to do with his knees. If you think about it, like if your knee's hurting, it's harder to get low in that position that you need to be in. So that could be part of the reason why everyone looks at him and he stands straight up and rushes. Maybe that's part of it.
I just think it's interesting that, a few years ago, the Niners were telling us that it wasn't smart to pay Buckner and you can't have two guys. You got to choose between him and Armstead. And now all of a sudden it's like, actually, we were wrong. We were wrong to trade Buckner. We were wrong to draft Kinlaw. Let's just sign Javon Hargrave, admit our mistake, and put together a dominant D-line again. Like, what's more important? Yeah. Pretending we weren't wrong or having a dominant D-line? God love them.
Yeah.
It took them 3 years, but they did it.
Yeah, it's a good sign for the 49ers, honestly, because, they're not typically one to back down from their decisions. They don't really like to admit that they're wrong about things, and this is admitting you're wrong.
Yeah. Jimmy says, what if it's not the Niners, but it's Purdy rushing himself back because he's scared that Lance starts, goes off, and then Niners won't start Purdy again? That's a great point. It's occurred to me too. There's always a lot of factors, and I think that's sort of what happened with Carson Wentz a few years ago. He was hurt. Foles won the Super Bowl. Wentz rushed back. Like, I got to get this job back right now. And he came back too soon, got hurt again. Now he's what he is. Mm-hmm. So that could be part of it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
UK Tube says, stupid deal for JH. Another overweight Javon on the team. $8.4 million and another 30-year-old on the team. This is now officially Dad's Army. LOL. O-line sucks again. Yikes. I understand it. I mean, he's 30. He's definitely on the downside of his career. That being said, he just had the best season of his career. Right. And I think he's really good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Niners have had a history of taking the Chiefs and now the Eagles not scraps, but leftovers, but rejects. Guys they don't want to pay. D Ford, Travarius Ward, and now Javon Hargrave.
I don't agree with that last commentator, honestly, because this to me signals that, hey, we understand that our window is closing and it's time to make a move. And I like it, man. He had, like you said, he had the best.
He's one of the best free agents available.
He's the best defensive tackle available, and he had his best season last year. So it's not like.
Would you rather the Niners sign Javon Hargrave or Mike McGlinchey?
Yeah, right. Like, with zero question about that one, right? Like,
right. I mean, they could have signed McGlinchey, who's actually a little cheaper, but they went and got Hargrave. QC for Grant Cohn is here. How do you do, fellas? Good. How do you do? Kinlaw for Becton. Kinlaw for Becton. Yeah. Hey, Robert Saleh. Did you want Javon Kinlaw? Was that your pick? Hey, why don't you reunite him and Solomon Thomas over there?
Yeah.
Okay. So in some amusing news, the Denver Broncos clearly don't watch this show. Went and signed Mike McGlinchey to a 5-year deal worth $87 million. 87. 5 years for Big Mike. It was funny. Early in the morning, there were reports that the Bears were going to do it. And I just went on a tirade on Twitter, adding the Bears, like, hey, there's still time. You don't have to do this. It's a big mistake. Clearly they listened and they didn't do it. But the Broncos walked in and they're like, we want to make the big mistake. Yeah. What do you think of the Broncos doing this?
First,
they signed Tom Compton last year, and now they're bringing in Mike McGlinchey.
First, the Russell Wilson move. Now, Mike McGlinchey. They're
two of the worst contracts in the league, Ryan.
Yeah, really bad, man. Hats off to Mike McGlinchey. I love when players get paid. I really do. But, man, if the 49ers would have gave that contract to Mike McGlinchey, I would have rioted. I would have drove to Santa Clara and started a riot. That's wild, man. Like,
there's a one-man riot in Santa Clara. He's bald and he's just walking down Great America Parkway. He seems really pissed. I don't know. We're going to talk to him, see what he wants.
I mean, would you? That would have been crazy. You would have been
That would have been hilarious.
him all season long. You would have been killing him for 4 seasons.
Oh,
yeah.
So even the Niners aren't that stupid, but Denver, who demonstrated that they were that stupid by giving that contract to Russell Wilson and then an office on top of it.
Yeah.
Now they're bringing in Mike McGlinchey. Does he get an office as well? Probably.
That would be interesting.
Did Adam Peters call up John Elway like, hey, man, this guy is so good. So good. So now the Niners get a pretty nice comp pick because the Broncos are ridiculous. Dude, John Elway is a terrible general manager. John Lynch is, I don't know what John Lynch does because it's Kyle's team, but John Lynch is demonstrably a better general manager than John Elway. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, well, he did bring in Peyton Manning. That was great. But he's been struggling.
That was
He's
nice.
been on the struggle bus as a recent.
He did bring in Sean Payton. And last year I was kind of saying maybe I'd rather have Sean Payton than Kyle Shanahan. I still feel that way. But Kyle Shanahan now has to coach freaking Russell Wilson and Mike McGlinchey. Like, how could that go right? Like, we already know what that's going to be bad. Russell?
I don't like Sean Payton. I don't like him.
As a guy or as a coach?
Well, at least a guy. Yeah, he just bugs me. He irks me. I don't know. Something about him, he's just annoying as hell to
also,
me.
He's a lot like Kyle, if we're being honest. The whole Taysom Hill thing was just was an ego thing. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
His offense is kind of old school, and he can make it work because he's clever. But yeah, plus he also cheated and got suspended from the league, so he's got like this dark cloud over him.
Yeah,
it's kind of like making a deal with the devil when you bring him in. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, but I mean, it got to be an upgrade over last year. I mean. What was his name? I forget the guy's name. There was a coach last year that got fired and like
Hackett.
He's better than Hackett. I'll give him that. He's definitely better than Hackett.
Kinlaw for Becton. Hey, sure. Sounds good. Yeah. I like it. Would trade Trey Lance for Mac Jones in a first-round pick in a second round? Says Clint.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, Mac Jones is terrible. I don't like Mac Jones at all. I don't like Mac Jones at all.
$10. Sahil.
$10 from Sahil. Thank you very much. That was very nice of you.
Yeah.
Stephen Pryor. I spent a decade not wishing Russell Wilson well as a Seahawk, but what happened to him last season after Hackett, next season with McGlinchey? I couldn't wish that on anyone, poor guy. Yeah, everyone really dumps on on Russell Wilson. I mean, the worst thing he did was be kind of corny. I'm corny.
Yeah.
I'm extremely corny. I feel like that's a tough way. It's a harsh way to
you're not Russell. You're not Russell Wilson corny. Don't say that. But I will say, I think there's been like the media has been trying to just kill Russell Wilson's character all offseason, and I don't understand it. To me,
he's not like Deshaun Watson.
Right.
No offense to Deshaun Watson.
I mean, Russell Wilson is corny as hell, and his wife is way better than him, but he seems like a good guy, man. I don't understand why people come.
Kirk Cousins is corny, and everyone likes it. Oh, look at him with the chain. He's so funny and dorky. But when Russell Wilson is corny, it's like, this guy is a problem.
Right. You see,
he better stop being so corny.
Did you see Sierra at the Oscars last night? Holy shit. I'm sorry. I got a Sierra thing. I apologize.
Fair enough. Obi-Wan 49 says, just like most stuff in life does not matter because we all eventually die. None of this does until we have elite quarterback play. Sorry to be morbid. Wow. That was some existential stuff right there at 11:47 on a Monday. Thank you very much. Let's move on. We talked about Jimmy Garoppolo to the Raiders. What a move for the AFC. Move over, Kansas City. Watch out. Here comes the Raider. All right.
Yeah.
Last night, the Niners re-signed Tashaun Gipson to a 1-year, $2.9 million deal. He had a really good year. He's had a hell of a career. He's always been kind of this guy who hasn't gotten big contracts, and it's sort of been like an afterthought, but then he wins the job, plays all year, intercepts 5 passes, and moves on to the next team. Keeps his act. But now that the Niners have kept him around, he's a playmaker. What do you think of this?
I thought that's what was going to happen because, I like Ward. I would have probably preferred Ward personally, but Ward's going to be a lot more than Gipson was. I actually thought Gipson was going to get a little more than that. And so I think the 49ers got a good deal. He's definitely older at the end of his career, but I think it's a great move. He played phenomenal. He was probably the most underrated player on the 49ers defense last year. Just no one really talked about him. He played his ass off in coverage against the run. He was one of the top in the NFL. It's a great move. Hopefully the 49ers go out and draft a safety, and Gipson can play that mentor role for him this year. I think it's a fantastic move.
I agree. I think they should and will draft a safety because What the Niners need to do, the Eagles do it. Good, smart teams do it. Like really talented teams. Draft for next year.
Yeah.
Because you have one of the best rosters in the league. A lot of these rookies aren't good enough to start for you right away. But Tashaun Gipson's going to be a free agent next year, and he'll be 33. So draft a safety, sit him for a year like you did with Talanoa Hufanga, and then start him as a second-year player. That has worked very well for the 49ers in the past. I would feel very confident that they're going to do that this year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love Gipson, man. He was a ball hawk. He had more interceptions. Honestly, you can make an argument. I mean, Huff played great in the beginning of the year. He learned his lesson about jumping those short routes.
Yeah.
And then he kind of backed off, and he was actually a little bit more quiet towards the end of the year. And Gipson became that guy, that ball hawk. He ended up with more interceptions than Huff. He was better in coverage than Huff. He played amazing. Like, during the season, everyone was arguing, hey, we need to put Ward back at safety. And I understood that. But I was also like, but Gipson is playing really good. Like, how do you move Gipson off when he's playing so well? So I'm happy.
You talk about instincts. I feel like he has the instincts because he's in the right place at the right time to intercept passes, but he's not, playing hero ball, busting coverages, abandoning his assignment to make plays. That's what Hufanga was doing for a stretch of the season. Yeah. He was making plays. He was getting all-pro buzz. He started feeling himself. He was in the building. He was feeling himself. He started doing too much. He reined it in, played great. Down the stretch, he was playing like Gipson. Gipson's been doing that for a very long time. He knows he's the one with the instincts. Maybe they both do.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, it's called safety for a reason. So, jumping those short routes and making plays is great. But if you're getting burnt deep, you're not playing your position. So it looks like D'Amico got through to Huff, and it's going to be interesting to see what.
I'm surprised that D'Amico didn't make a bigger offer, or maybe he did. I don't know.
To Gipson? Yeah, I thought Gipson was going to be a Texan. Maybe it's Ward that's going to be a Texan.
Perhaps. Or maybe they're just going to go young over there and feel like, you know what? I got a 6-year contract. I don't need a 32-year-old free safety. I don't know what he's thinking, but I'm glad he didn't sign Jimmy Garoppolo. That would have been freaking ridiculous if his first move as head coach would be repeat Kyle Shanahan's mistakes.
He's smarter than that. He's smarter than that. Good for him. Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him. Good for Tashaun Gipson. I think this will probably be his last year on the team, although who knows? If he has another good year, the Niners could probably bring him back on another 1-year cheap deal. What we got to keep in mind is next year, Talanoa will be up for an extension. And as we see with the Niners, they love their defense. They want to keep their defense together. He's looking like he could be a cornerstone of it, especially the secondary. So that's another guy they're going to have to make room for long term is Talanoa.
Yeah, this team is getting expensive. That's why this move with Hargrave, it's a right now move because this team is getting expensive. Next year, there's going to be some guys that have to go after this next season.
Yeah. What's the point of half stepping if you're already this deep and this committed to your roster? Like it feels like what the Eagles did last year. Now it didn't pay off in a Super Bowl win for the Eagles, but they came 3 points close. It's pretty freaking close. And honestly, that Super Bowl, we've kind of all written it off like, well, it's because Jalen Hurts fumbled. Yeah, I mean, it was whoever had the ball last with a minute left was going to win that game. Yeah. There was no defense in that game. And the only reason the Eagles lost is they got the ball back with like 10 seconds left. If they had a minute 10, they would have won. That's kind of the Super Bowl these days. Whoever has the ball last.
Yeah. And so the 49ers, they're making great moves. Hargrave's fantastic. But if they don't shore up the offensive line and if one of these quarterbacks doesn't prove to be a top-notch quarterback,
nothing matters.
Man, nothing matters.
You'll just be a contender. You'll just be another good story, another team that won. Yeah, another double-digit team, another great memories and a great ride, but ultimately not the Lombardi. So they're not done. It's a great start to free agency. Great start.
Yeah, great start.
This would be the next big move. Kinlaw for Lamar Jackson. I think that's going to get it done.
Straight away.
Straight. How do you say no to that? Life's great. Niners winning Super Bowl 23, dominant D. Well, the next Super Bowl is technically in 24. So Sahale says Trey Lance started with run game and defense. I'd like to see it. I'd love to see Trey Lance with like Kittle and McCaffrey and Debo on the field together. He hasn't had that.
With see it with a Brock Purdy playbook, with the Jimmy Garoppolo playbook, and not.
And I'd like to see them get in the shotgun and like fake the zone read, make them think the zone read's coming, but it's just a handoff.
Yeah, a couple design runs per game outside of sneak. A couple design runs per game. That's it.
Yeah. Justin Gonzalez says Givens re-signs 1 year, $2 million per barrels. Kinlaw definitely getting moved. All All right, let's talk about it real quick because we got nothing else to talk about.
Right.
49ers
Let me
resign.
check to see if there's any updates.
Yeah, make sure that Kevin Givens news is legit.
Yeah, it is. It is confirmed. I should have brought that up earlier.
Okay. Let's talk about it. 1 year, $2 million for Kevin Givens. Defensive tackle, was a Niners undrafted free agent, little undersized, but he's, in my opinion, improved a little bit every year, and he's not a starter. But as a backup who can give you 15 to 20 snaps,
yeah,
I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's an impact rotational defensive tackle who just might mess around and get a TFL or a sack when you need it most. I like this move. I like Kevin Givens.
Yeah, I mean, with the news of Kevin Givens, Hargrave, and then we heard that they put Kinlaw on the traded block, does not sound like Kinlaw is going to be back. It sounds like they're definitely going to find a way to move on from Kinlaw. And Givens, I think, like you said, he's a good depth piece. So, yeah, it's a good move. 49ers continue to get stronger. I anticipate the 49ers will sign a couple Kevin Givens type players, not just on the interior, but on the edge. They're really good at finding these guys like Amenahu, guys like that who, may have not had the success that they could have had. They sign them on a cheap deal. They give them a year or two, and then they develop them into be better than they are. So I think the 49ers could still make moves like that on the defensive line. So I don't think they're done yet. But Givens is a good size, a good depth piece.
It's interesting that the Niners don't do more of this. They have such a great defensive line coach. You'd think that if they wanted to go like Moneyball at any position, it would be there because they can draft and develop players. Mm-hmm. But they also want the big time guys. I get it. I understand you need star power in the league. It seems like they're going Moneyball on the offensive line. Like they've made a decision. We're going to splurge at left tackle and go bargain at the other 5 positions. And we can because we have a great offensive line coach in Chris Forster. Okay, well, give him something to work with, though, man. Give him some guys with some athletic traits. He's giving them guys from Fordham. It's like, no offense, but, man, there's only so much Chris Forster can do. I'd like to see the Niners go out and sign a center. And if they don't, get a really freaking good one. But the thing about the Niners is Kyle has shown right now he will not start a rookie unless he absolutely has to. He's never going to draft a guy, but that's a plug-and-play guy. His attitude is, if he really impresses me and I have no other options, I will maybe put him in the starting lineup, maybe in rotation. Yeah. So if you need a center and Brendel's not coming back, go get the Javon Hargrave of centers.
You need a center and you need a right tackle. And the good thing, though, the 49ers, even though Kyle Shanahan doesn't traditionally play guys in their rookie year, they have so many draft picks. What are they going to do with 11 draft picks? They need to package some of those, move up. They got 2 new comp picks, right? They're going to get a comp pick for McGlinchey. They're going to get a comp pick for Jimmy G. I'm assuming.
Probably next year. Next year.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is they got 11 picks this year. They'll probably have as many next year, right? Yeah. So we're not going to use all these draft picks. Package some, move up. They need to address this right tackle center position. Sounds like they're at least looking at center in free agency. So maybe they are going to listen to me and go after right tackle in the draft. You're welcome.
Austin, you gave me a $5 donation, but your message, I'm not reading that. If you want to see why I'm not reading Austin's message, you can go in the chat. It's $11.50. I'm not reading that. But thank you for the it was a really kind of a mean thing that you wrote about Jimmy. I wouldn't read that. So you can say that. Jimmy. Russ isn't corny. He's inauthentic like a politician. There's worse things you could be. Are you kidding? Which football player is authentic? Especially guys making $200 million, 50, $500 million. They're all playing that little CEO cosplay game on the face of the franchise.
Yeah,
sure. That's how you act at home, right?
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. A lot of fans think that these players and coaches speak honestly. None of them do. It's all BS. They tell you what they want to hear. They're all politicians. Yeah, of
course. Raiders love Niners leftovers. Compton coming back. Tom Compton. No, they got Colton McKivitz. If Tom Compton changed his last name to Tom Mick Compton, maybe. But until then, the Niners have their Mick right tackle. Jonathan King says, have you guys talked about Jimmy Garoppolo, the Raiders? Yes. We thought it was hilarious.
Grant, do you think they did that with McKivitz because that's their starter? Do you really think that's the plan?
It's going to be him and a rookie, and that means he's going to win unless he's hurt. Him and a rookie that they draft in round 3. Maybe they'll trade up 30 spots.
Why go after Hargrave if you're going to go with Colt McKivitz at right tackle?
Because the Niners have undervalued the right side of their right of their offensive line since Kyle Shanahan has gotten here. I don't understand it.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
No.
It doesn't. I don't get it. Has the 2021 QB class been a letdown? It was so hyped. Yes, it's been a super letdown. And I think we talked about it at the time, but the whole COVID thing, you had half a year, you had no combine. The scouting process was sketchy, and a lot of people made big investments about players they didn't know that well. They didn't have all the information. Like the Niners misjudged Trey Lance's athleticism, like only in a COVID year, man. That's something you could test for. That should be pretty verifiable.
Yeah,
Tyler says, go ahead.
I will say that Trey Lance is still undecided, and then Justin Fields, man, I like what the Bears are doing right now. They're making some good, smart decisions. So Justin,
the best thing they did, the best thing the Bears did, not sign Michael McGlinchey.
Yes, yeah, and then they made the trade with the Panthers. They brought in a receiver. The Bears are going to make a jump this year, I think, and so Justin Fields' story isn't written. I don't think Trey Lance is either. So on those two, it's TBD.
Justin Fields is better than I thought.
Hey, Trevor Lawrence is good.
Yeah, he's really good.
So Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, those are the guys that are
right. That's true. And Justin Fields could be good. And we don't know about Trey Lance, but that's a good point. Zach Wilson, horrible. So bad.
Him and Mac Jones.
That guy was a total mirage. People were comparing him to Aaron Rodgers. Like, man, he's not even Mike White. This guy sucks. He's like, remember when some people compared him to Johnny Manziel?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's it.
Tyler Rector says, I would be content with JH as the only. See, this is messing with me.
Jim Harbaugh.
JH is Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I would be content with Javon Hargrave as the only defensive signing. Rest of the money needs to go to the O-line. Rest of the D, get through the draft. You know, after the season, we all agreed that the Niners need to get better in both trenches.
Yes.
So far, so good. Now, you're 50% of the way there. That's it. That's our show.
I'm trying to see if there's
Thanks for watching.
Nothing new.
Is there anything else? We got like 2,500 people watching.
Nothing new, man. I think they're looking for talk about trying to re-sign Mosley, but I think that's it for now, man. Nothing new.
Yeah, I would imagine that the Niners, this is their big splash signing, and I don't know if they're going to be like bidding for players and winning bidding wars anymore. I think the rest of their signings, I'm anticipating relative bargains, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the year that the Niners sign make 3 or 4 big splash moves like the Eagles last year and say, you know what, we're not messing around. This is it. This is our year.
Make it center.
It'd be nice if they had a quarterback, though.
Make it center and right tackle. Yeah. I mean, quarterbacks is what it is. They're not going to bring in a big quarterback, so make it center and right tackle, man. That's what I want to see.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. I'll be back at some point today. News is going to be rolling in. I'll see you guys soon. Stay tuned. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, buddy.